The end of this latest Jahy episode has my mind racing on what the end truly meant. My assumption of what just happened was because even though it was very chaotic, very hilarious episode, and ultimately, the magical girl, she views the Dark Lord as just a glutton and is not there for any particular reason, where Jahy is arguing because the Dark Lord is essentially God to her people, there's a reason she chose specifically to stay with you. And then you get this weird kind of almost godlike aura that was maybe about to attack. I mean, from what we saw with her backstory, some form of godlike entity saved her life in return for basically destroying the Dark Realm, right? And she did that, but I'm wondering, is the god that kind of gave her a second chance at life now trying to take that life back because she betrayed the pact and now is working with Jahy? Is that what was about to happen? Because it feels to me that given that, we have the Dark Lord protecting her and destroying the energy that was coming after her. So either one, the energy is good and was just going to be there to help her and protect her, and then the Dark Lord not liking positive energy destroyed it. But I think what's actually happening is basically, because she's now working for the enemy, it feels like, that entity is trying to take back what she gave to her, which either A is the power, or B, if we want to get twisted, maybe even her life, and the Dark Lord is now almost acting like a guardian angel, and the repayment is essentially making your food bill skyrocket to the moon. But if that's keeping you alive, that's actually a pretty sweet deal, all things considered. Incredible stuff. I wasn't expecting to be able to really theory craft much with this show, but when it does get your mind thinking about certain things, you gotta love how the great Jahy really goes into it. Last week, I think it was in the video I was talking about, at the very least the last couple of episodes, I really want to see the magical girl and Druji. And it didn't even cross my mind that Druji would just not even acknowledge that it was the magical girl. It was just another random imposter that's trying to act as Jahy's companion, friend, lover, based on some of the goddamn dialogue. And it's hilarious to see that ultimately there was never really a need to explain the magical girl phenomenon. Really, if you have someone who's claiming to be your friend, Druji's not going to take too kindly to that. So to have her get more and more ferocious to the point of having two transformation scenes. One, someone who wants to get stepped all over in her maid uniform, the other who wants to fight crime as a magical girl. And the idea of competing to see who can collect the most crystals to give to Jahy, you're probably looking at that saying, well, that's actually a pretty sweet deal. I know she's going to get tasked with the bill because if they're both leaving, who else is going to pay for it? But I was wondering, what would the karma effect of this episode be? And ultimately, it's because, Jahy's still kind of lying to both of them in terms of, what they all represent. Jahy hasn't come clean that the magical girl is her and she didn't actually defeat her and she's not living in luxury. And obviously, towards the magical girl, she keeps bouncing back and forth of if they're friend or she's using her and things like that. So being tasked at having to pay the bill and ultimately because she didn't have the money, having to wash dishes, not the worst punishment ever, but still reminding us that Jahy can't get around this entire situation unless she wants to be honest. And once she is honest, that's when she'll not have to, pay the bill. Because Druji, for having as much money as she did, even if, there was a lack of respect, she would have paid it, right? Because of the honesty and things like that. That's the whole theme of the show. Do good things happen. Do bad things, and you get your ass bit by a chomping trap. Seriously. Salwa or Savera, depending on how the translation's going about it, the fact that she made these, giant chomping traps, and the fact that the first two were almost just a darkness vibe to me. The magical girl was basically brushing it off, destroying it. At certain points, the voice acting gave me the impression she was kind of enjoying it because she just wanted Jahy to acknowledge her. And the third one not going off, but then biting someone in the ass. I mean, the show, in terms of its comedic directing, I really think it's second to none in terms of many shows this year. I think if I was to take a real step back, look at my favorite funny shows of this year, I really do think this one is either at the top or very, very close for me in terms of hitting my comedic funny bone. Because the animation, at times, seriously, these faces you're surprised aren't foaming at the mouth going crazy given what we're experiencing. And just the way they continue to make the show better, because truthfully, first 10 episodes, I think, are masterfully well done. But really, since Dark Lord's introduction, and even slightly before that, the show has really picked up and found a groove of character building, seeing the characters grow, most importantly on Jahy's side, but even getting still those side casts who either started out as good people and continue to influence the negative people, like Jahy in terms of how she once was, to even like characters like Sawa in terms of how she's trying to just, like, honestly, I mean, what she was building was definitely designed to like rip legs apart. And I mean, so her getting punished makes total sense in that department as well. As you also have the bigger questions like the Dark Lord, because the Dark Lord being someone who just seemingly is a glutton, just eats and is regaining power seemingly, but what's she using that power on? And then you get the end of the episode, and the idea that, even the Dark Lord seemingly is being treated a little differently here, because what I really loved is when basically Jahy and the magical girl have a conversation about kind of like what she was like in the Dark Realm, and it seems like in many ways the relationship wasn't maybe that Jahy misunderstood the Dark Lord, but more so she kind of like spoiled the Dark Lord, and in return that kind of created the beast that we're currently interacting with. And to have someone like the magical girl who constantly criticizes while she's still basically acting like who apparently she was in the Dark Realm, eating a lot of food and, basically being treated as queen. The fact that she's going out of her way to protect the magical girl, who probably, I think the reason being for all this type of situation is that the reason she is so attached is that ultimately because of the pile of crystals, the Dark Lord was able to be summoned there. And because that person is feeding me and summoned me, naturally I'm going to feel indebted, and anything that tries to attack where I think is negative towards the magical girl, the Dark Lord seemingly will deal with. So it's an interesting concept, right? Because it's not guaranteed that that kind of like yellow kind of spiritual mist was negative. But it makes me think it is, because from what the backstory told us, like, she was supposed to destroy the Dark Realm. She did that. But now she's working to restore the Dark Realm, and I don't think that spirit would take kindly, so I do think it was trying to claim something, all things considered, and the Dark Lord is what's stopping it. And I mean, it does go to show how powerful. I mean, you look at the character, and she's just a little cute glutton. That's really what she is. But the one-shot KO kind of said it all. I mean, I understand The Great Jahy is kind of an underappreciated show. I mean, the fandom who continues to experience it seemingly loves it, like myself. But I do recognize, when I make claims like this is one of my favorite anime, I know not everyone's going to agree with that claim, but it's just, it does get better. It really, really does. And I'm so excited to see how the anime will decide to leave everything off, because, I've heard it's pretty close to catching up with how much manga's out there. So is it going to be more of like, it's a good ending per se that you can kind of see like it's open-ended, should we get another season, or you jump into the manga, good enough? Or will it just kind of like abruptly end? I think they're going to go more open-ended with it, where of course there'll be the possibility of more anime, but it will serve as kind of an open-ended ending is what my gut's telling me, but I guess we'll see. Still got a handful more episodes left, and I'm going to be enjoying watching and reviewing them when they come out. Let me know your thoughts and feelings out down below, favorite moment, theories if you have any with the ending of the episode. Do you agree with my thought process, or do you have your own? Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.